Hello, hello. It's business partner. Level B1 plus. Lesson 1.4. Business skills. It's unit 1. We are talking about organization. And the topic is small talk in first meetings. We have already talked about small talk recently, and we see that it's very important. Last lesson, we saw the visit of a German woman at the London branch of a company, and the guy who received her tried to do some small talk, right? And we are going to see in more details today. Learners can use a range of questions and responses to make small talk. You don't do small talk, you make small talk in first meeting. Many examples, many things we are going to see. Very nice lesson, by the way. I'd like to start with you with this. Look, when was the last time you met someone for the first time? Well, recently I started meeting some people in a place because we were in meetings at Zoom. And now that we are going to the place together to the same meeting, we can talk more with people, and it has been very interesting. The last time, tonight, I met some people tonight for the first time. And you? The idea is for you to talk to your partner, or if it's a private lesson, we are going to talk about this question. And this question, what questions did you ask him or her? What are the questions you would like to ask? I remember asking where the person was from, and obviously the name. What do you usually ask? If the person lives in the neighborhood, if the person likes the company, or what does the person like in the company or the product you are going to talk about? What questions did he or she ask you? I don't remember the person asking me questions, but I usually ask what is the person what does the person think about the company and where the person is from. Sometimes the person asks me if I am from São Paulo because of my accent. I've lived in the countryside and in Minas Gerais. Maybe they find something different. And how did you feel about being asked those questions? I feel comfortable at answering most questions that people ask in a first meeting. I feel comfortable, no problem. And you, has it happened that you found something unusual? I remember a guy that went to a small party with friends, and he didn't know a guy that was in the party, and the guy came to him and said, "Hey, I speak Japanese." He wasn't from Japan. He didn't have anyone in his family from Japan, so it was very unusual for my friend to see a guy saying that, or to listen to a guy saying that. I speak Japanese. And some people would say, nobody asked. Do you speak other languages? I speak Japanese. Is more natural. But you just go and say that sounds weird for me. Why don't you write in the comments if you had an unusual piece of information when you were making small talk? before a meeting, in a party, or at school? Tell me. The first exercise here, we have to discuss the following question. What is small talk and how important is it during first meetings? How would you describe or define small talk? In Portuguese, conversa fiada? Well, conversa fiada sounds so negative, doesn't it? I call it conversa de elevador. Those seconds or minutes in which you talk about something that's not important. That's basically my definition. But a more serious definition would be small talk is a form of polite conversation which people use in first meetings and informal moments or between discussions of more serious topics. For example, you're talking in 4 people, and then one has to leave the room. And those 3 can't continue the conversation because of that person that left. Because the person is necessary to continue talking about that topic. So you talk about the game, the weather, what is appropriate where you live to use as a small talk. How was your journey to the company? It's a bit hot today, isn't it? This is a small talk, right? And then the other person comes back and you continue your meeting. Look at 2. What questions would you normally ask when meeting someone for the first time? What's your weight? How much do you earn? And what's your political view? Terrible 3 questions, right? Don't use questions like these in small talk. Please don't do that. When meeting in business, it's typical to ask questions about travel to the meeting place, to offer a drink. That's really nice, right? You're showing interest, true interest in the person. It's a very neutral topic and it breaks the ice. And 3, are there any problems with asking questions in a first meeting and why? What do you think? And be prepared to talk to me or to your teacher in the live lesson. Asking questions puts some pressure on your counterpart to answer. Some people don't feel comfortable. But additionally, some people may feel that asking too many questions, especially on personal topics, is impolite. I agree with that. Oh, please, you can't ask too many questions, right? Try to have a normal conversation. The other person knows how it works. The other person knows that usually we make some small talk before the important meeting. Breaks the ice, you feel comfortable, well, should feel comfortable. After some practice, everything will be okay. This is business skill, right? It's important. Maybe the other person doesn't have this skill. You are learning, or maybe you already know. You can make things easier for the other person. Look in the eyes, but don't stare. No, look in the eyes and then you move a little and then you go back and look in the eyes, right? Because Brazilians tend to almost stare at the person. Foreigners aren't. Depending on the culture, they don't keep looking at the eyes. They look at you and then they move their eyes and then they come back again and they keep doing that. Okay? We have this listening that is wonderful. It's a short interview with this woman, Angela Dawson, a communication coach based in New York. What do they talk about? They talk about how to use small talk and manage first meetings. You see how important the topic is. I told you already, we learn to be better people and better workers by studying English here. Lots of opportunities to speak. So let's take a look at the 4 questions. Why is managing first meetings in international business often difficult? What is the value of asking questions? Which types of questions are most effective and why? And what should you ask questions about? Or important questions, because if we learn this and we manage doing that, if we work very well with small talk, things will be very nice. Okay, so let me play.
Unit 1. Recording 3.
First meetings in an international business setting can often be difficult. 2 strangers come together. Often they both have to speak a foreign language, English. So you have strangers who aren't sure what to say to each other, and they aren't sure how to say it. The result is pretty predictable, a difficult silence. Now, silence isn't necessarily bad. In some cultures, silence is good. It's positive because it signals respect. But for me, if you want to get to know someone, to understand them as a person and as a professional, which is essential for doing business together, then silence is a risk because you stop this process. If you want to learn about the other person and build a relationship, you need to ask questions. And this is the real value of asking questions. You learn stuff about the other person. So, which questions do you ask? I would say in terms of style, keep it short and simple. Just ask simple starter questions. If you are meeting a visitor, you can say things like, "Did you have a good trip? Is this your first time here?" These kinds of questions are good because they allow an easy answer. They're not too personal, but they can quickly break the ice and get the conversation flowing. You know, sometimes the specific questions don't really matter. You just ask a question to get the ball rolling. And then it's important to ask follow-up questions. If you don't, small talk can feel very mechanical. In terms of what you ask about in those first few minutes, I think in business you need to have a mix of personal and work topics. On the work side, asking about roles and responsibilities is good, and the organization behind the person and where people work and travel. All these questions are easy to answer and give you useful background. And if you listen to what people tell you, you'll find more ideas for other questions. And all this asking questions, well, it builds understanding and in the end, trust. Remember, it's impossible to trust someone if you don't know them well. And how can you know them well? You've got to ask questions. Oh, one final thing. If possible, find something you have in common with the other person. Maybe you visited the same place, you like the same food, the same music or sport. When you and the other person have similar interests, the conversation often goes better.
How did you like? Could you understand everything? Why, we had 4 questions. For example, why is managing first meetings in international business often difficult? Do you have an answer? Obviously, you can pause the video, go back and watch again, listen again. But I would say that sometimes people are strangers. They don't know each other. and they have to communicate in a foreign language for most of them, right? So it becomes a bit harder. What is the value of asking questions? Well, you learn about the other person, right? And then this can lead to a relationship. So it's very positive to ask questions, but which types of questions are most effective? Short, simple starter questions with follow-up questions. They allow an easy answer, right? And they're not too personal. They can quickly break the ice, as we said before, and get the conversation rolling, flowing. Otherwise, everybody's going to be silent. And depending on the situation, it can last for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. What wouldn't be very nice? And question 4, what should you ask questions about? About things connected to the company are really good, but light things, not the political aspects maybe. And ask about work responsibilities and the organization behind the person. Or on a personal note, talking about traveling is usually really good, a good topic. People like traveling. Do you like traveling? I love traveling. Listen again and answer these questions. What 2 things does Angela say about silence? Well, I'm not going to play again. If you want to listen again, you just pause the video and go back and watch the video again. But we have these 3 questions. What 2 things does Angela say about silence? Well, in some cultures, silence is a sign of respect. But she thinks silence slows down the process of getting to know another person. But one question after the other, like a machine gun, isn't polite, right? So you balance, try to listen very well to the other person. Why does she say that some questions don't matter? If something doesn't matter, is that they aren't very important. But maybe, according to her, the topic can be important, but more important than that is that you break the ice, you get the conversation flowing, and you might start a kind of partnership or friendship with the person, and it can be helpful to the business. Look at the 3rd question. What is the relationship between asking questions and building trust? Well, you trust people you know well. By asking questions, well, it helps you get to know a person, and so are essential to trust building. So questions are essential, right? How far do you agree with Angela's ideas about asking questions? Do you remember what she said? So, do you agree with that? I think it's nice. For example, people from different backgrounds respond to questions in different ways. That's true. Some more positively, some less positively. Some have large explanations, some give a short answer and maybe asks you back the questions. We need to ask questions with our right for the other person, if we want to motivate them to have a conversation. For example, I'm bored. I've discovered a wonderful shampoo, Shinky. Well, it's not exactly a topic that is very important for me. Okay? At the end of the interview, Angela talks about the need to find something in common. That's very important. If you want to make a friend, try to talk about something that you have interests on that. It helps a lot. And for example, when you and the other person have similar interests, the conversation often goes better. Do you agree with that? Do you? I agree with that, but you can disagree, and then I want to know your point of view. Conversations can be easier if both people have something to say about a topic which they know. For example, Princess Isabel, was she a villain or a heroine in the case of slavery abolition? Maybe only a few people can answer that question. I can't answer that question very well. So avoid a question that is so hard for some people. Well, you don't have to talk about women nails if you are a man and you're receiving a female worker. No, you don't have to talk about that. You should talk about something that's common for you and for her. Right? This is usually what you should do. Find topics which both people are interested in will motivate interaction, because the other person and you can be excited about the topic. That's really nice for closing deals, by the way. Right? But please try to listen to them, because if they think that only you are speaking, that's not very positive for the environment. Okay? Look at part 3. Part 3 isn't the same. Now it isn't an expert. It's a person who works for a London-based international company. His name is Paul Robson, and he's welcoming Eva Neumann. She's a colleague from another office of his company. We listen and decide if these sentences are true or false. Well, they're meeting for the first time. These are the people. This is Paul, and she is Eva. Right? First time, they are probably going to make small talk. Eva traveled directly from the airport to the meeting. This is Eva's first visit to London. Eva works full-time in Geneva. Paul is head of customer service. Eva is leading a project called Service Experience. Well, we have to listen and decide if these sentences here are true or false. So pay attention, because I'm going to play, and be ready to answer these questions.
Unit 1.
I'm going to play and then I'm going to answer. I'm not going to answer while we are listening to it. Okay, so you can, after the audio pause, try to do the exercise, and then we return, you play again, and I'm going to give you the answers.
Recording 4.
Hi, is it Eva?
Yes,
Hi, Eva. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
thank you. It's nice to be here.
Did you have a good trip? Hotel okay?
Yes, no problems. I haven't seen the hotel yet. I came straight here from the airport.
Okay, well, follow me. My office is just through this door. So, here we are. can I take your coat?
Thank you.
Good. Take a seat. Can I offer you something to drink? Coffee? Tea?
Just water would be nice, thanks.
Okay. Here you go. So, is it your first time here in the London office?
Yes, it is. But I've been to London once before.
Okay. For work?
No, just a holiday that time.
So, where do you work exactly? Are you in the Zurich office at the moment?
Yes, I'm responsible for sales support there. I work 20% in Geneva, though.
Okay, and do you report to Paul Bleckner?
Yes, I do. You know him?
Yes, I worked with him on a sales project last year. I was thinking of inviting him to join us later. Are you free for dinner this evening?
Yes, that would be nice.
Fine, so I'll organise that. And funny, you know, I also worked in Geneva. When did you join the company?
End of last year.
Okay, then I just missed you. I moved to this job here in October. So, you know, I'm now head of customer service and also this new international project around service excellence, which is why we're here.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to this project. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm ready.
It's really good to have you on the project. So, shall we make a start? I know you have a busy schedule and lots of other people to meet.
Right? So, Eva traveled. If you need, you can listen again. If you'd like to answer again, or to answer while you listen, this is very good practice. But you have to tell me why you answered those questions. I'm going to give you the answers, but during the live lesson, we are going to talk about these things, if trying to bring it more to a personal answer. Okay? Eva traveled directly from the airport to the meeting. True or false? True. She's hungry. This is Eva's first visit to London. This is her first professional visit to London, but she had been in the place some years ago. Eva works full-time in Geneva. Well, no. She works 80% in Geneva, 20% in other places, right? Paul is head of customer service. Yes, true. Customer service. And finally, Eva is leading a project, estava tomando a dianteira, a project called Service Excellence. Is that correct? No, the program isn't called Service Excellence. The program, yes, the point is that it is Service Excellence. The point is that it isn't Eva who's leading the project. It's Paul, right? Ta-da! I don't know why it doesn't stand. Look, I can't move upwards. So sorry. But this is what we had. So it's Paul who's leading a project. Eva works 20% of the time in Geneva. This is Eva's second visit to London, because this is what we learn, right? She had been on holidays. Look at the list of tips for making small talk in first meetings. Listen again and tick which tips Paul uses in a conversation with Eva. So this list is very good. Tips for small talk in first meetings. We remember that we have only one chance to make a good impression. And we have, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 tips for small talk in first meetings. So you don't have to answer the same all the time. Let's read them. Give a clear and positive welcome. That's really nice. Oi, beleza? No, hello, you're welcome to the company. Offer to take the other person's coat. Well, it doesn't happen very often in northeast Brazil, north of Brazil, Goiás, Brasília. Ask about their journey to the office. How was your trip? Was the bus too full? Was the flight very nice? Offer them a drink. Oh, come on, the person was in the street, so offer the person water, coffee, tea. Check if their hotel is okay. Ah, that's nice, right? Did you have any problem with your room in the hotel? Let me know. I can help you solve your problem. Offer help to organize a taxi. If 2 or 3 or more people are going to the same place, why don't you carpool? That is, bringing more people to share the bill, to share the payment. Ask if it's their first time in the city. Is it your first time here? And people feel included when you ask a question like this. Suggest going for dinner later in the evening, or that very day, or the following day. But if you're married, to avoid jealousy, maybe you can invite your wife, your husband, to go together. I don't know. What is okay for you here in Brazil? Well, you tell me in the comments, or we are going to talk about that during the live lesson. Ask where the other person works. What department? Where is the branch? It's also a very good question. Check when they joined the company. To know more details, it would be important to learn more about the other person as well, because this is pair work. Well, no, not necessarily, but, well, you can ask your partner later. We are going to do that by asking when the person joined the company. And finally, make a positive comment about working with them. I'm going to play, okay? And we are going to try to answer to this. And then here, right? Pay attention. Well, we have already listened, right? And do you remember? Otherwise, I'm going to play again this time.
Unit 1. Recording 4.
Hi, is it Eva?
Yes.
Hi, Eva. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Did you have a good trip? Hotel okay?
Yes, no problems. I haven't seen the hotel yet. I came straight here from the airport.
Okay, well, follow me. My office is just through this door. So, here we are. Can I take your coat?
Oh, thank you.
Good. Take a seat. Can I offer you something to drink? Coffee? Tea?
Just water would be nice, thanks.
Okay. Here you go. So, is it your first time here in the London office?
Yes, it is. But I've been to London once before.
Okay. For work?
No, just a holiday that time.
So, where do you work exactly? Are you in the Zurich office at the moment?
Yes. I'm responsible for sales support there. I work 20% in Geneva, though.
Okay, and do you report to Paul Blackner?
Yes, I do. You know him?
Yes, I worked with him on a sales project last year. I was thinking of inviting him to join us later. Are you free for dinner this evening?
Yes, that would be nice.
Fine, so I'll organise that. And funny, I also worked in Geneva. When did you join the company?
end of last year.
Okay, then I just missed you. I moved to this job here in October. So, I'm now head of customer service and also this new international project around service excellence, which is why we're here.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to this project. It's going to be a lot of work, but I'm ready.
It's really good to have you on the project. So, shall we make a start? I know you have a busy schedule and lots of other people to meet.
Great. I think it was worth watching or listening again. Because the list is large. And he gives a clear and positive welcome. He offers to take the other person's coat, right? And then he asks about their journey, offers Eva something to drink, check if the hotel is okay, yes, offer help to organize a taxi. Maybe it would be polite in some cultures, but he doesn't do that, right? And then ask if it's their first time in the city. Well, it isn't her first time in London, right? Ask if their first time. Suggest going for dinner later in the evening. Wow! Going for dinner. This is very common in a corporative environment. I ask where the other person works. Wow. Yes, if the person didn't have any time before the lesson, it's a very good moment to ask where the other person works. Check when they joined the company. So ask the person, because it's a nice question. You get to know how much experience the person has. Make a positive comment about working with them. Yes, don't criticize, right? But hey, it's good that we are going to work together. I think it's nice. But we have this question here. How effectively do you think Paul handled the first meeting with Eva? Oh, well, I think that he does well. He handles the meeting well, as Eva responds positively to his questions and general style of first meetings. I think that he was okay. Nothing to complain. But then we have this exercise. It isn't exactly grammar, but it's functional language. Functional language is we have to say something. How do we say this in English? It's connected to first meetings. This is what we are studying. Right? We have these words: time, join, have, free, offer, take, work, and report. Complete the questions from the recording in exercise 3A. The words in the box. If necessary, we go and see the audio script. No, it's okay. We can complete together, right? Easy. For example, in this offer help and hospitality. Can I your coat or bag? Can I rob? Can I take to my house? No. You are trying to be hospitable. So you say, can I take your coat? Can I take your bag? So call, use something to drink, a coffee, a glass of water. So can I offer you something to drink? Don't ask anything to drink, because in questions we tend to use anything, but not when you want the person to accept. Can I offer you something to drink? Coffee, a glass of water, right? And then you could ask the other person, are you taking a taxi? Are you going by Uber? You have to show hospitality. The journey. Did you a good flight, a good journey, a good trip? What do you say? Did you have a good flight? Experience. Is it your first in the London office? Is it your first time? Right? How much experience do you have here? Basically, this is the question. Place of work. Where do you exactly? Where do you work exactly? Where are you based? Where are you based? So where are you based? You are meeting, the other person is meeting in your branch, in your area. So you ask, where are you based? To make the person talk a little about their position, where it is, and so on. Are you in the Zurich office at the moment? In an office? No. So, where do you work exactly? But it's already completed, office, right? Time with company. When did you, the company, when did you work? When did you work? No. When did you join the company? When did you join? When did you enter to start working for that company? Do you to Paul Blitner? Do you report to Paul Blitman? Do you know? With David in Mexico office? I don't think Pedro is willing to move and stay in the US again for the first time, because it isn't first time, right? Do you work with David in the Mexico office? You see? So if you know someone and the person goes to that building, you can ask something like this. Are you free for lunch today? Are you free for dinner this evening? Are you free? Can we go and have dinner together? Well, it isn't a pick-up line. Não é uma cantada. It's polite to offer that. Okay? But more interesting than that we are going to use these words and others to put ourselves in the situation. Match the answers with the topics in exercise 4A. These ones. I like this kind of exercise. For example, the first one, I'm actually based in Warsaw at the moment. What question would be for the person answered this? Is it your first time in London? Right? That's a way, a reason for asking or for saying that. Now the answer is about 5 years ago. What could it be? It could be number 5, right? When did you join the company? About 5 years ago. C. Sorry, I'm meeting a friend today. Are you free tomorrow? What is it? What could it be? I'm meeting a friend. Are you free tomorrow? And then the very person says, do you report to Paul Blittner. Do you report to Tom Blittney? Oops, no. Why did I do that? Sorry for that. Let's go and see the questions. Letter D. Yes, I do. Do you know him? Do you report to Paul Blitzner? Sorry. I'm meeting a friend today. D. No, sorry. Do you work with David in Mexico office? Yes, I do. Do you know him? Right? That would be great. Thanks. And this would be, can I take your coat? Right? Can I invite you? No, can I bring you something to drink? Can I offer you? Right? That would be great. Actually, I had a delay at the airport. So, what could it be? I had a delay at the airport. Did you have a good flight? No, I was here last month, actually. Na verdade, I was here last month. It could be, is it your first time in the London office? Is it your first time at the conference? Very good. And then we have the teacher's resources, extra activity. I like this kind of exercise, I'm sorry. But the point is to match these, the end of the questions, to the beginning of the question. I like this kind of exercise, come on. What are the expressions? We have the WH questions. How many, how far, how long, how much? How about, and how can? These are all WH questions. But these sentences are all connected to what we are saying or talking about. We are talking about small talk. Will I take to get to the airport later? How long is it? Or how about will I take? No. How much will it take to get to the airport later? I get to the football stadium. Is it best to take a taxi? Remember, that's the second question, second part of a question. Look at the sixth sentence here. How can I get to the football stadium? Right? See, I show you around the office first. What is it? How about I show you around the office first? I like the question, don't you? Then we have D. Is the office from the center? Is this office from the center? How far is the office from the center? Right? And does it cost to eat there? does it cost to eat here? How much does it cost? Right? I would answer it like that. Oops. I didn't write, sorry. How can... Yes. Evitar. What do we have to do here? We have to put these words in the correct order, right? Like here. Oops, number one. Where is number one? Oh no, it's not showing. So the first one is, I remember, my flight was delayed for 2 hours. You have the book, you're watching the video, so you follow the exercise, okay? Look at question 3. Oh, no, let me try again. Oh. No, I can't show you. Ah, come on, just a second. Yes, now it's back. How hours for delayed was flight my 2? My flight was delayed for 2 hours. Driver, look, so the answer. My for delayed was flight hours. My flight was delayed for 2 hours. Driver D couldn't taxi find office D. So you can pause, do the exercise and see the answer. The taxi driver couldn't find the office. Right? 3. Call my couldn't you I so battery flat was. What's the answer? Call my couldn't you. My battery was flat, so I couldn't call you. Has it happened to you? Let's talk about this in the live lesson. And finally, let the train. I think I left my laptop on the train. Dangerous. The hotel couldn't find the booking you made for me. So where am I going to sleep tonight? 6. I arrive luggage to didn't some my need I close because. I need to buy. I need to buy some clothes. No, clothes. I need to buy some clothes because my terrible feeling, right? Because my luggage didn't arrive. Yes? Easy. I think it's nice to spend some minutes on an exercise like this because we can understand better word order and things. But finally we have exercise 5. Have you noticed that we always finish with a very practical exercise? Maybe we don't have time in the lesson, but before the lesson you were watching this video, and point is that we are going to use a lot of vocabulary. Work in groups of 3. If it's a private lesson, there will be only 3 people. And 2 people. And then we should adapt the exercise. There are 3 scenarios. Each person will take the roles of host, observer, and visitor's face. What are the things that people should do? The host, you are welcoming a member of the project team to the London office, meaning meeting in person and moving to your office. So you go and give attention, try to talk, offer assistance, and you are going to be working together. Then there's the visitor. You are visiting the London office. If there's a third person, the person is the observer. But otherwise, on the other hand, if it's a private lesson, we are going to adapt that. I have an example. I'm showing you page 137. Okay? Look at your 3 role cards on page 137. If there isn't the observer, it's fine. Don't worry too much. Let's take a look. This is the exercise. I'm showing you. Sorry. Then you can understand what we are going to do during the live lesson. Read through the information and prepare for the role play. You can include any additional information you want. The host role, someone who is in the office and is receiving someone. What do you have to do? You welcome your guests to the meeting and make small talk to put your guests at ease. You can ask questions about your guest's role in the company, the job title, location, manager experience, how long he or she is in town, whether he or she has been to your city before, where the person comes from, travel, where he or she studied, the weather, and his or her plans for the evening. Well, busy life. What's the second person going to do? The observer observes the meeting and notice how the host and guest make small talk. Improve areas. What areas do they perform well in? So the observer is watching and taking notes. How could they improve? He's going to give advice. Imagine how interesting. And then when you are the visitor, what are you going to do? You have these things to do. You have to write your name. This is your job in the company. It's in Canada, not in the United States. You will love it. And then there are some other details here. Oops. And personal background. These are other things that a person could ask you. Okay? Plans for the evening. Wants to go to see a soccer game in London. West Ham, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal. What team do you support in London? So, we are going to study this. We are going to try to prepare to be part, to give some contribution to the conversation. When you have finished, listen to the observer's feedback and discuss how easy or difficult it is to manage a first meeting. Share your group's ideas And this is really nice, a very good exercise. We are going to work with that. If it's a private lesson, one is going to be the host, the other one the visitor, and we both are trying to observe what the other one is doing, what we are doing, to be really attentive and positive about that. Well, this is the lesson 1.5 on business skills, how to make small talk at the work environment. I liked the lesson. Did you like the lesson? So this is it. See you in the live lesson. Bye bye.